Hello and welcome to another Maplestory video, and today we're gonna cover up a little bit about the Berserker level 60 builds. I might have thought a little bit different regarding the builds. I think a lot of people are, arguing about which one is the best, which one deals the most damage, etc. and so on. And I did find some faulty stuff that I did not cover up when I did my own builds. So I'm gonna go through it, take it easy and slow, and comment about it and describe about my build that works for me. It might not work for everyone else, but I hope you understand why I decided to go with this type of build. So, going off, for Raging Slash, your minimum requirement to unlock most of the abilities around here. We have 10 Death Spin, and the reason for that is Death Spin is such a high mobility skill that you can move around and avoid damage with your spin. You can also use it as a filler to increase your damage. So when you look at my spirit, for example, let's use up all our spirit. We're out of spirit. So when you're out of spirit, you can continue to spin while we gain the stacks. Obviously it's not going to work right now because I don't have 10 stacks of Dark Aura, but with 10 stacks of Dark Aura this would give me 20 spirit back, and that will help me to spin forever until my cooldowns are off again. Groundbreaker at 10, this is the Groundbreaker build that I've decided to make. So having Groundbreaker, it's mainly prioritized for adds when you kill do certain dungeons. Killing adds faster means you're gonna be able to go DPS the boss afterwards. Void Slash falls off slightly slower when it comes to killing adds, so having Groundbreaker is pretty good. But what I have to say is you need to have 10 stacks of Dark Aura to actually min-max or maximize your damage. Groundbreaker without 10 stacks literally means you're gonna be lower DPS than a Void Slash build. So keep in mind. I like the challenge, I like to play with Groundbreaker. It has big AoE damage. I'm sticking with it because I'm so used to playing with Groundbreaker. Another thing that I would like to mention is when you do PvP, Groundbreaker is gonna be your main DPS. Void Slash is only there to be able to hit and run and chase people, but Groundbreaker is the killer here that you need to use to kill off other players. Yeah, so 6 Void Slash minimum requirement for Darkbreaker, and you're gonna need that at 5 for the minimum requirement for Warrior Instinct. Warrior Instinct is the best passive you can get in game. You get physical resistance, which is meh, but you also get 6.4% piercing, which is really good for PvP and for bossing, because every boss has a different value of defense. As for Bloodlust, now this is the part where we will ask ourselves what's good and what's not good. If you're playing without a priest, I would not go with this build. I would change off the blood price and remove Adrenaline Rush. I will spend everything on the Great Sword Mastery, and what will end up looking like this. So I have 8 Bloodlust, which gives us 35% of our health. It's enough, it's pretty good, but we also maximize our damage while we don't lose out on health, because blood price is gonna kill us if we don't have a priest, pretty much. Having a priest is just so helpful, and you can just pop the blood price for that increased damage. If you are playing, however, if you are playing the with the blood price, we're going to spend pretty much everything on the Great Sword Mastery. So this is a build regarding with the priest in your party. I would stick to the blood price because you will get 5% more damage for 30 seconds, but you also have your Great Sword Mastery at level 9, which is 5.8%. It's 0.6% less increased damage, but in overall you do get every 30 seconds 5% more damage. You minimize your bloodlust to 27% of lifesteal, but if you have a priest, then stick to this because this is the minimum requirement for the blood price, and I would say this is the optimal build right now for Berserker or Groundbreaker build if you want to have increased damage, in my opinion, with a priest. If you don't have a priest, then, as I mentioned before, max out the Greatsword Mastery, get Bloodlust at level 8 for that 35% lifesteal instead of 27. Yeah, so on the right side you may wonder, why don't you max out on your Deep Wounds? Deep Wounds is... it's kind of hard to describe it. I mean, it procs when you crit. It doesn't have that high damage when it comes to the bleed. And if you do happen to proc the bleed, or you know, crit again and you proc the bleed, it's gonna refresh the dot. But you know, you don't rely too much on dots, in my opinion. So minimum requirement for this, and then have at least one on Earthquake. You may wonder why you're gonna spend, you know, on Blood Price. For example, you can just go max out Deep Wounds, etc. Earthquake is there to fill in for Groundbreaker builds. The reason for Earthquake is being there is also for PvP, but also for yourself. That whenever you use this, there's an animation that happens, and that will give you enough time to recover some spirit to use another Groundbreaker. But yeah, Earthquake is pretty good. It deals roughly a third of the damage of what you do with your Groundbreaker, and it also grants you stacks of Dark Aura in case you lost some. You can build up with the Earthquake with that as well. So if you want to go with the priest build, with the priest in your party, I would say this is the optimal build that I have right now. If you don't have a priest, remove the Blood Price, spend it on the Greatsword Mastery and Bloodlust, and this should be the Groundbreaker build. That's the best at level 60. So let's go off with the Void Slash build. Void Slash is a little bit different. We're gonna be using our points into Void Slash to max it out. We're gonna need Darkbreaker maxed out. That's also one of our skills that we're gonna use a lot. Warrior Instinct is gonna be maxed. Greatsword Mastery is gonna be maxed, definitely. And this is also gonna be now, depending on if you have a priest or not. Like I said, it's all about having a priest or not having a priest in your party. But we're going off with the minimum requirement that we can choose. We're gonna decide to have, let's see, yeah, let's add up to the Earthquake. So the minimum requirement with the priest would be something like this for the Void Slash build. So you max out your Void Slash, you max out your Darkbreaker, which you use every 10 seconds or every 10 stacks. Warrior Instinct is obviously maxed out. Greatsword Mastery is maxed out. Your minimum of Bloodlust is there because you have a priest, but it's there to fill in whenever you need to, you know, dodge to the side. Like if you need to recover your health because your priest is too busy with someone else, it's there. Blood Price is there for that 5% extra damage because you have a priest, he can heal you up. You have Earthquake to pop now and then. If you need to hide, for example, let's say it's a mechanic that, you know, deals some damage or that will one-shot you. You can place down the Earthquake, go down the hole, and then, you know, use your Darkbreaker, for example, in combination of Earthquake, for example, and then you have your Deep Wounds maxed out because there's nothing else to spend on. A lot of people are thinking about, oh, you might as well go with the Inhuman Endurance. That's also a viable option if you feel like you're taking a lot of damage or you're stationary. This will help you, but you know, obviously when you're at 30%, you usually pop a potion or you pop the Bloodlust or have a healer pop your health to fully. So I don't think it's that valuable. It is valuable for PvP, but right now I feel like it's for PvE it's not that valuable. Some may mix up with Groundbreaker and Void Slash build, and that kind of build could be good on paper and could be good if you really like to, you know, manage with your SP, because Groundbreaker eats up a lot of SP. That means you're gonna remove all your points from Darkbreaker and, you know, remove points from Deep Wounds, etc. I guess I can show it on the screen. We are gonna waste a little bit of the death spin, but we're gonna max out Groundbreaker. And obviously we do have some extra points. We could place it somewhere that we feel like it's good or benefiting us. But with 10 Groundbreaker, you can use up all your spirit, and then you fill in with Void Slash as a filler. This will require you to, you know, manage your SP or spirit quite often. I haven't tested it out. Might be something interesting for you guys to try out if you want to try out the Void Slash and Groundbreaker together. This might be something for you. There's also Dark Might that people were talking about. So what you could do is, if you don't want to spend on Darkbreaker or anything, what you could do is, let's see, 6 points. We can max out our Dark Might. We will have to remove the blood price, because there's no point in having blood price with the Dark Might, because you're going to lose out on health really quickly, unless you don't care too much about the Earthquake. Well then, what you could do is, you can go something like this, and this will be sort of like your Void Slash build when you combine Dark Might with Void Slash, and then you pop Blood Price for the increased damage, and you spam the shit out of the by standing still and attacking the enemy. It will be every 30 seconds though, so it's not optimal, but it's something you can try out and play around. You will lose out on points spending on Death Spin, Raging Slash and Groundbreaker, however. So it's really up to you when it comes to how you want to build. But let's go back to the Void Slash build again. Let's see. So without the priest, if you're playing without the priest, obviously, I did cover up with the priest, then you could go with Blood Price, for example. But without the priest, you kind of want to go something like this. You'll be maxing out your cuts. You'll be having Blood Loss maxed out. We're going to have Darkbreaker maxed out. So this is going to be your priestless Void Slash build. I'll obviously going to link the skill builds in the description below. It's also going to be in my previous video, where I have, you know, all the builds, all the classes and the gear slots, etc. It's going to be in that list as well, but for this video I'm going to link the image with all the Berserker builds that I've covered up right now. So this build is literally the Void Slash build without any priest in your party. You rely on yourself using Bloodlust. You don't have any blood price or anything for the increased damage, but you do have 10 on the deep wounds for the damage, and then yeah, blood price is literally just gone because you can't afford losing health. Anyways, I hope you appreciate this updated version of my Berserker builds, and I hope I covered up a little bit regarding the builds. I know I haven't showed the damage parsing or anything. You can try it out yourself. I feel like this should be enough for the video. I don't want to make it too long. This build is obvious. All these builds are pretty much unique, I guess, and good in each category and individual personal preferences. But yeah, if you want my opinion, I prefer the Groundbreaker build that I showed on the first one. That's my own playstyle, I would recommend. And obviously, if you are playing against a moving target, you know, it really depends on the situation and the dungeon. So keep in mind of that, and hopefully you'll be the top DPS depending on what build you went with. Feel free to comment down below if you have other, other builds that you would recommend. Share with everyone else. I mean, it's an open video for everyone to share their own opinions and such. So take with a grain of salt. It's not probably going to be the best build or anything that you're looking for. I might be wrong, who knows. But this is my personal build. Just once again, I just want to put that out. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.